Good evening and welcome to the February Parks Advisory Board meeting. Before we get started, I do have some remarks that I'm going to read here. Good evening and thank you for participating in our remote and local regular meeting of the Kitsap Parks Advisory Board. We will do our best to facilitate a smooth meeting with public participation and ask that everyone be patient as we navigate this electronic platform. We have two formats for participation: the Zoom web application as well as teleconference. Before we begin, I want to review some guidelines and general instructions for the meeting. Please silence your other communication devices such as your cell or desk phone. This will ensure that we are not hearing any feedback or causing interruption during the meeting. During the meeting, all participants on Zoom, my computer's outwitting me. There we go. During the meeting, all participants on Zoom, except for board members and county staff, will be placed on mute by the host. This means that you will not be able to mute or unmute your lines manually. The chair will announce opportunities for public comment, which are included in the meeting agenda. For those on Zoom, if you would like to make public comment, please click on the raise hand feature to signal that you would like to comment. The sound will be unmuted and the internet participant should announce their first and last name before speaking. Participant will be called upon to speak at the appropriate time. For those calling in and using the phone line only, if you'd like to make public comment, please dial *9 on your keyboard to signal that you would like to comment. The last four digits of the call-in number will be announced, and call-in participants should announce their first and last name before speaking. Participant will be called upon to speak at the appropriate time. Please note you can hang up or leave the Zoom meeting at any time. So welcome one and all. Let's go with introductions first. Advisory board members.
Lisa Hurt, North Kitsap.
Linda Berry Murray, North Kitsap.
Dawn Doctor, representing South Kitsap, District 2.
Nancy Whitaker, Central Kitsap.
And I'm Larry Walker, South Kitsap. Staff members present.
Alex Wisniewski, Parks Director.
Carmen Smith, Parks Planner.
Alex Hardy, Marketing and Event Supervisor.
Thank you very much. Okay, first thing we have on our agenda is the adoption of the January 15th, 2025 meeting minutes. I'm assuming everybody has had a chance to review. Are there any corrections, deletions? Yes, Dawn.
I had just one note. Well, I think it's technically correct. The 5-minute recess was actually for the work plan, not directly the director's report.
Duly noted on that. Thanks for catching that. Any other corrections? At this point, I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 15th, 2025 as amended.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a second. So all in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Nobody opposed? We have minutes. Thank you very much. We're now moving into public comment. Do we have people who wish to remember, we do have a 3-minute time limit.
Testing. Switch it up for this one.
I'll need somebody to basically hold that for me. I'm sorry. Good evening, everyone. My name is Casey Patton. I'm with the Kitsap Aircraft Radio Control Society. And last month, I mentioned something about the build that we're hosting for the EAA Young Eagles. This is the model that they built last year. They're currently in process of building another one. And when this went ahead and they took it, and this is a kit, they had to assemble all the parts, glue everything together along with their fingers. And then we went ahead and they did the covering. One of the ladies is a 13-year-old graphics art person, and she did a lot of the decorating and the lettering. And as well as you'll see here, it's upside down, but there's the kids that names on it that were participating in the build. So this is the one we flew last year, and they had a couple of flights on it, and we're in the process of building a second model now. So thank you very much. Yes, Don.
Casey, is it possible for the public to come out and watch your fly dates? And could you tell us when those are?
Sure can. And right now, the schedule is still tentative, except for the first Saturday of every month from April till October, starting at 10 o'clock is our competition day. And we have Reno racing, and we also have combat. And if anybody wants to come out, we have either a barbecue, hamburgers and hot dogs, or we'll have pizza for lunch. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other? Yes, go ahead.
Hello, I'm David Onstead of Port Orchard. I want to make 3 comments. I went over the pros plan, not every of the 800 pages, but I did go over the pros plan. I would like to say that Appendix X is missing. It's mentioned or referred to on page 18 of the pros plan, and I want to make sure everybody knew that the appendix is missing. That's the one that will contain information about the master plans and other documents. Second of all, on page 48 in the table, it tells you who the stakeholders were that were interviewed for the comp plan, not the comp plan, the pros plan. Everybody from the commissioners through park stewards. And unfortunately, when you read down below the next couple pages, there's no summary for the interviews for the park stewards. There's summaries for everybody else, but not summaries for the park stewards. So we have no idea what the park stewards said. So my third point is I really would like to have the Appendix X and the information about the interviews with the park stewards before the public comment period ends. And so if you could extend the public comment period and after we receive those 2 missing parts, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comments? Well, hearing no other public comments, we will move on into the next section of our agenda. Now, Alex, you did indicate that you would like to push the the pros plan presentation to after the business or after our work plan. Okay.
Correct. Just to make sure that we've got time to get through the work plan and the subcommittee assignments.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. So at this point, we will be moving into looking at our work plan. We did a pretty good job of fleshing stuff out last month, but we're still a few things left there. So Alex, the floor is yours.
So in your packet, I provided a updated draft version of proposed work plan for the board to consider based on the conversations from last month. I think I captured what was indicated from the meeting, but really looking for review and comments from the board. Does this capture what the interests were in terms of topics and the hierarchical tiers? And if not, we'll make some edits. If so, feel free to have your own discussion and move on with voting.
Board members, any comments?
I thought it looked like it captured our discussion. The only thing I noticed is that Larry's last name's misspelled.
It's kind of like when you're knitting something, the superstition is you have to have
Right.
one fault and everything for good luck. So misspelling my name was for good luck.
We can fix that. Thanks for pointing it out.
Is there any money put aside? Was there any time or money put aside for developing that part of the website that would actually be the Q&A or the area where people would find their answers to questions that were asked here at the PAB meetings? I'm still getting questions about that people aren't feeling like they're getting their questions answered. And after doing the proposal to have that done, I was just curious what the status on that was. Chris.
Yeah, on the website, we do have a FAQs page, and the intention was we were going to track questions there and add questions that were not a repeat of information provided. I will have to check with staff to see how up to date we are on the list of questions.
Yeah, I didn't see any of the questions that were asked at meetings. So anyway, yeah.
All right, are there any other comments from the advisory board members?
Yeah.
Well, at this point, then I would entertain a motion that to adopt this as proposed.
I move that we adopt the work plan as proposed tonight.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this? Well, hearing no offers for discussion, yes. Were you just waving at your computer? All right, I think so. Okay, so all in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Opposed? We have a work plan. Bear with me while I scroll down through okay, look.
Here to number two, we've got IE, natural resources, MNO, finance, etc. I have IE as the only.
We can amend that, Rick.
Okay, so now let's at this point, first off, right now, the subcommittees we have at this instant are the Finance and Budget, which is a statutory committee, and Capital Parks, Projects and Parks, which is a standing committee by law, the Ad Hoc Committee of Community Outreach and Visitor Services, and also for Planning and Property. Do these, by consensus, do they think these will do the job for us this coming year?
I know, we have a lot of staff issues being stretched. I wonder if maybe we could consolidate a couple of the committees. I don't know if it has to be a final decision, but I don't think we met very often last year. And, again, staffing is down. I don't know if we have to make a final decision, but, for instance, capital projects and parks and planning and property seem like they have a lot of overlap. That maybe we could, if we consolidated them, at least for this year, we'd be more likely to have those subcommittees meet and have some effective meetings and be kind of respectful of the lack of staff time that we've got right now when people are that stretched. I don't know if there's much overlap between the others, but those ones are both sort of planning and projects.
Yes, Dawn.
So one of the reasons I'm questioning is that we have a limited number of park advisory board members that can be on a committee before it has to become a public committee, right? And part of that is keeping our numbers low. And if we want to make sure we have everybody the opportunity to be on a committee, we might need to keep 4, and that's fine. But if we combine capital projects and planning, wouldn't we still have the same number of reports and meetings from staff, whether they were combined or separated?
Potentially. I mean, the capital projects and the finance and budget, the 2 standing ones, have a couple standing meetings on an annual basis that won't go away. And those are aligned with the budget development and the capital improvement plan development that we do every year. The other 2 as ad hoc, happen when there's a need, when there is a policy to review, when there is something that requires the parks, that in all likelihood will go to the commissioners, and then we start at the subcommittee level, then it comes to the full advisory board, and then it goes to the commissioners. If we were to combine capital projects and planning, we would always have 2, and then any additional meetings based on whatever the specific need is. But those could be separated if they were 2 separate ones. So I don't know if that helps or not.
I have another question, and you may not be in a position to answer it yet, but there's discussion about M&O and the department going through some efficiency with the consultant. And currently in capital projects and park, we have the M&O program. Under community outreach, we have the volunteer program, and under planning and property, we have natural resources programming. So if you think of the current format, natural resources and volunteers, they're in 2 separate places. And the discussion of putting the volunteers in M&O. So how would the restructuring affect all of that, or the way we have it laid out? Is there a way we should put our focus areas differently?
Yeah, that's a good point. We don't have enough information at this point to fully kind of understand where we're going at with a potential restructuring of some of the program areas in the department. But definitely open to moving some of the focus areas around. Maybe that would help with a balancing of the 4 groups or 4 subcommittees that are on here.
So my question would be, would it make more sense to leave the alignment as it is now and then realign to fit how, at a future date, once we've gone through the updates? Would it make more sense to get the updates done before we start realigning this?
Yeah, we could definitely do that. It would still be good if we're going to keep the 4 groups to get Parks Advisory boards to sign up for some of them, though.
Oh, absolutely. I don't want to realign everything a couple of times and everything. I hate fixing things twice.
Yeah, good point.
It's Dawn.
I have a question about how we do things in subcommittees. In a lot of other organizations that I'm a member of, the subcommittees often deal with things that come up, or they'll work on things and bring ideas and recommendations to the board. It seems to me over the last year that these subcommittees wait for you to bring a report to us, and then we respond to the report.
Right.
Is that how it's supposed to be? Is it how it needs to be? I remember at the beginning of, I believe, last year, we had a discussion about some stewards wanting to get together and, or not stewards, park advisory board members going and learning about parks or investigating other things. Is it appropriate for the park advisory board subcommittees to ever request, say, we want to go in and ask questions about, I don't know, funding opportunities, or go out and look for funding opportunities and say, we want to come and talk to you about things we found?
We've not functioned that way in the department. Since I've been here, I don't know how subcommittees were managed in the past. There is no reason why the subcommittees couldn't get together on their own time to work on something. The challenge is whatever that task is, being a benefit to the department based on staff capacity and whatever our priorities are. We would want to make sure that those are aligned.
Was there one point in time that you mentioned that when the subcommittee met, we had to have a staff as part of the subcommittee meeting? Am I remembering that correct?
Not if there is no quorum. So as long as we're under that threshold, the Parks Advisory Board can really meet in any configuration of different members, but cannot breach if we breach the quorum threshold, then we're required to do public notice and have opportunities for the public to be there and participate and so forth. So it creates kind of a logistical and scheduling challenge. Can be overcome, just creates a challenge. Yeah, you got it.
Don, if I may, what we've done in the past has been, we serve, we get, a subcommittee would be brought together to discuss a particular issue that has been brought from the Parks Department. They're looking for guidance from that subdivision or from that subcommittee. But there's nothing in the system that precludes, for example, if you want to go visit North Kitsap, you want to, have a field trip, subcommittee field trip up to there. There's nothing to preclude. My recommended method would be to bring it up to the board in open meeting to, get the subcommittee to go visit or put together an ad hoc one-time group, once again, staying under quorum, so that you could go take a look at stuff and everything. And then you could report back about how the field trip went. And then we could decide, do we need to refer this, if it was just an ad hoc thing, do we need to refer it to a subcommittee for further study? Or can we just give advice to the boss there? Like I said, I'm in the KISS principle today. Just keep it simple. So that being said, what positions do you want to have? Yes, Linda?
I just want to, what Don brought up here, in that, essentially the kind of the overall restructuring of the department has changed how staff and volunteers where we work under. And now the volunteer program is under the natural resources program. And, in the past, think the M&O program in the Heritage Park stopped at the gate, which for those of us that were stewards, that's a hard thing. It's like that's a lot of land acquisition to not have any M&O staff. So I do wonder if maybe while we're looking at this M&O program, that might come back more to the committee as a whole, because I think it just, that topic in particular touches all areas, and it is it doesn't fit neatly. And maybe after that M&O study, it'll make sense, some kind of restructuring of what issues, what focus areas are under these committees. But right now, I think Don's right that that particular issue straddles 3 of the 4 committees. And that's kind of problematic. So thanks for catching that, Don.
Yeah, I don't think this will be the last time we have this conversation about this. Like I said, once we get the restructuring, actually not written on an Etch-a-Sketch, but actually down in a actionable format and everything, I absolutely agree that we probably need to figure out how to pull M&O, volunteers and natural resources into more of an umbrella and everything, as long as the parks planner is in charge of this whole thing. You got your pass last week. Yes, Dawn.
The only suggestion I would make, and I'm not sure it's really a good suggestion, was that the natural resources supervisor needs to be with community outreach, visitor service, and as well as planning and property. And if we could just stick them into one, they might not have to think about 2 different committees. But that leaves the volunteer program and let's see, the natural resources program. It seems to me that it would make sense at this point in time to leave them in the planning and property and almost remove. I mean, is it a done deal that M&O, the volunteers will go in M&O? And if that's true, I might recommend that we take the natural resources and the volunteer program out of community outreach. And that might have to be a subsection of M&O. But again, that's something we might need to bring up later. But that would be.
Yeah, as I stated earlier, the determination of the restructure of department operations has not been solidified. In all likelihood, one of the things we're looking at are the different components of the volunteer program, and that, some of them are maintenance related, some of them are natural resources related, some of them are events related. So it really straddles a variety of different programs and doesn't really land very neatly in one specific area. So that is one of, and I can tell you in our, exploration of maintenance activities in the department, this is, a minor one in comparison to other considerations we're taking a look at. So.
Okay, I'm looking for volunteers for subcommittees now.
So are we planning to basically leave the subcommittee?
We'll stay with what we've got right now.
All right, okay.
And then when we're the restructuring is not written on Jello, we can we'll revisit, because then we'll have guidelines on what'll make it look better. So for right now, who wants to be on finance and budget?
I'll be on finance and budget.
Okay, we have Linda. Done.
I think you might want to list who's on which committees.
I have a blank slate here now.
Blank.
It's blank right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many committees do you want us on? In the past, it's been 2 or 3. or, I mean, it really doesn't matter probably, but
Do you want to be on every committee? I mean, you can commit to just as much time as you see fit to commit to.
That's nice of you, Larry.
I'm here for you. 2 or 3 is usually, standard norm and everything, because if not, you get spread so far out and everything that, pretty soon you're seeing your own headlights coming up the driveway heading at you as you're coming home.
Yeah, not that we've done any committees though. That's the thing. So
Mhm.
I want to be on planning and property. You're not there yet, but put me down for that.
Planning and property. Planning and property. We have 2 for planning and property.
I'd like to be on planning and property too, so we're all wanting to be.
We have 3 for planning and property.
And I want to be on capital projects. And parks.
Okay, don't spit them so fast that they can't take notes. Got it? Okay.
I would like capital projects also.
I'll say you,
Nancy.
Nancy.
I will, I think I've been historically on the finance and the community outreach. I can stay with those.
Okay, thank you. I mean, we can add more people as we go through.
What about you, Larry?
Well, we
What's
can't, don't forget, we can't have a quorum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Alex in charge of counting to 4. If he gets all the way to 5 and everything, so we're going to back somebody out. So
We're only at a max of 3 so far on planning and property. Everything is less than that. Also, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Four.
We're short 2 members. Amy Lawrence is not here.
John.
John's not here. Mike's not here. We're short 3 members, and then we have 1 vacancy that's not been filled yet.
What central?
South.
South.
Yeah.
Okay.
well, I don't believe that my face is going to say this out in public. But fine, I will join finance and budget. And I don't know about me being on community outreach and visitor services and everything. I'm terrible at that kind of stuff. So
We can leave it there too and come back to it next month, maybe when we've got more members
yes,
here.
that's kind of what I'm thinking about. But yeah, I'll go ahead and get involved in finance and budget. I have some ideas. All righty. Well, it looks like we're kind of in a dead spot here, so we will move along. Oops. So now we've got subcommittee assignments done, and this brings the floor back to you, Alex.
All right, thanks, Larry.
Certainly. Thank you.
All right, the intent tonight with the pros is to provide a presentation. I'm working on sharing my screen here. This would be the same presentation that is currently making its way around the county. It is last Tuesday, we held a public meeting in Kingston at the Village Greens Community Center. We walked through this slideshow that basically goes from start to finish, talking about what a pros plan is and where the proposed outcomes are from this. And then talking about the timeline through approval that we have remaining before us from now through July. Tomorrow, we'll be doing the same presentation in South Kitsap, and then we'll be doing a condensed version of it on March 5th in Central Kitsap. That one is not a standalone meeting like the North and the South are. That one is we are on the agenda of the Central Kitsap Community Council. So it's not our meeting, and we'll just be sharing this. The intent of this sharing of this information around the community right now is to bring awareness, bring notice to the Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Plan and its draft form in order to get folks to take a look at it and provide comments, provide feedback, which is trickling in. So we are starting to get that. This advisory board, though, has seen bits and pieces of this over the last year and a half. So we might be able to go a little quicker, might be able to skip a couple things, or I can walk through it as is. And maybe we can, I don't know, just put that out there. In case you want me to go faster. Linda.
Alex, I was wondering if you might be able to highlight what's changed since we've last seen it.
So, I'm trying to remember when our last touch point was. Was that following the third survey that was the results from the capital improvement plan or capital improvement survey?
I believe that we only got the preliminary results from the third survey. You didn't have the full results yet. So as far as my memory, unless I missed a meeting, I didn't think that we had heard the full results for the.
I think we shared the top 10 results from each of the categories, which is, in all honesty, what's in here as well.
Okay.
And I think that may have been the last touch point, largely because that was kind of capping off the community engagement component. And then the consultants basically went into the drafting phase to create the plan. And then it took a very, very long time for us to even get the first draft, which we didn't even receive until this past August. Then it needed a lot of help, and we've been through a couple renditions, and now we have what is posted on the website and came out on February 10th. That is in a good position for that review and the community engagement at this point. So this has definitely taken it many steps further. And I'll just walk through it. So starting with the very basics, PROS plan, what is it? The PROS plan is an acronym for Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Plan. It is a mandate by the state of Washington that we do this every 6 years. So ultimately, this is a 6-year strategic plan that helps identify different tasks and things for us to focus on over the next 6 years. It is a guide for policy development. It is a guide for departmental decisions for us to lean on to help determine which direction we're moving the department in. And it is a guide for determining park improvements, needs, and capital projects. So what is it for? As I just mentioned, it is a requirement by the state of Washington that is a component of the Growth Management Act. It is also a requirement by the state of Washington to be eligible for grants through the Recreation and Conservation Office. And I always like to point out, it is just good practice to come back to the community on a very frequent basis, to engage, to gain information, and by which to incorporate into the strategic plan and the direction that we're moving to ensure that we are the actions that we're taking as a department are meeting the needs and the demand from the community, that we are remaining relevant within the community eyes. So what's in it? The Recreation and Conservation Office has 6 different elements that are a requirement by the state of Washington to be in PROS plans. These you can see listed on the screen. They are called out in RCO's manual number 2. They are the goals and objectives, inventory analysis, public involvement, demand and need analysis, capital facilities plan, and then ultimately the adoption, which is basically the action of approval. The graphic on the screen here is one that's pulled out of the plan, and it basically shows in a very linear fashion how each of these elements relate to each other, ultimately ending in plan adoption. This is a very simplistic view, and I would say also a very incorrect view. In reality, it kind of looks like this. What we have up there are 5 of the 6 elements, so not the adoption because that's more of an action. But these other items are really the bones of the PROS plans. It is the information that goes into the development of the Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Plan. It is based on an evaluation of our existing facilities and parks. It is includes community engagement to understand what the community wants in terms of demand and need. That information is used to develop 2 primary outcomes from the PROS plan. And we end up with a goals and objectives section and a capital facilities plan. The goals and objectives are, and we'll walk through each one, but these are used to help guide policy development and decision-making for the department. And then the capital component is those capital projects that help move and develop the development of the capital facilities plan that we update on an annual basis. If you look across the bottom of the screen there in green letter, kind of shows it in a math problem format where you've got public involvement plus inventory analysis plus demand and need analysis, ultimately gets us with the results of goals and objectives and capital facilities plan. This slide here shows what kind of trying to summarize everything that we did in terms of the flow of the community engagement and how it moved forward. So what you see here is if you look across the bottom, you've got survey 1, 2, and 3. The results from the first survey led us into themes that came out of that you see the 4 themes in the box there: safety and access, trail development and connectivity, recreation facilities and programs, and preservation and conservation. Those 4 themes were the basis for the development of the questions and the information that went into the second survey. And that second survey was also the open houses that we held in North, South, Central. And the information that we got from survey number 2 helped us refine those themes, which you'll see in the second box across the top. And those then were the methodology that we used to craft the survey number 3, which was basically taking all this information and bringing it down to specific capital projects that we asked the community about their interest in. While all this was happening, we were also doing, you'll see the arcing arrow across the top. This is when the park system analysis was being done, taking a look at our existing facilities, our existing parks, determining their condition, et cetera. This was also the time when we were doing the stakeholder interviews. When we held the public open houses, that was in sync with survey number 2. We did some tabling and presentations about the PROS plan during the survey period to, again, very similar to what we're doing now, to make the community aware of this and to generate interest to get participation. We also held a staff workshop This was just a parks staff workshop that the consultant led. Our park staff have a lot of really good information and institutional knowledge about the conditions of our facilities. They're out in our parks every single day, and so getting their involvement and participation is critical. And then we, in an effort to try and bolster our youth involvement through the community, we put together a special youth survey that we distributed through the school districts. Unfortunately, our response rate was still relatively low, but we're doing everything that we can to try and get as much input from the community as possible. And ultimately, all of this gets coalesced into the PROS plan, the language that you find on the document that's posted on the project site, as well as the 6-year CIP. Our 6-year CIP is a separate document that we update on an annual basis, but we will lean heavily on the information from the PROS plan to help inform that. My intention now, and you will see this screen repeat throughout the presentation. This screen in the top left says inventory and analysis. This is really one of the chapters or one of the elements that you will find in the PROS plan. On the left there are all of I'm not going to go through every single one of these. But this gets you an idea of, if you were to go into the PROS plan, what you are going to find there. These are the subcategories and subcategories within this chapter. And it explains kind of everything that the consultant put together and what they were analyzing across our community and our park system as a component for each of these chapters, each of these elements. The one item and basically in this presentation, my purpose again is not to go through every single one of these, but in each chapter to draw out some information that is either unique to that chapter or something that might be different from the 2018 PROS plan. In this chapter, one of those items really is taking a look at the park classification system. So we are proposing in this draft form to change the classification of our park system. So on the left in that table is the current park classification system that Kitsap County has had in place for I think since 2012. It was updated from 2006 to 2012, and I believe it's remained static since. And what we're proposing to do is to implement the park classification system that you see in the right table. This park classification system is utilized by the state of Washington. It is what RCO uses. It is what State Parks uses. It's kind of a blending of those two things, but it really allows us to utilize some terminology that are used in the grant process. And so that we're utilizing a common terminology, common language. This doesn't really change the name of parks. It doesn't change the purpose of parks. It doesn't change how we manage those parks or how they may get developed. This is just intended to modify the current to the new proposed classification. The current classification system is very unique to Kitsap County and very difficult to kind of understand and to be able to utilize. And so moving to a more common structure is being proposed in the plan. Next section is public involvement. I have quite a few slides in here. And actually this chapter in the pros plan, these bullet points that are on the left-hand side of the screen here are not the subchapters and subsections. This was really more, took this as an opportunity to show all of the public engagement that we did to help inform community need, community talking points, community desires, basically what we're hearing from Kitsap County. This kind of falls in line with that graphic that we looked at earlier. You have the 3 surveys on here, survey 1, 2, and 3. We have the public open houses. We have the stakeholder interviews. We have the tabling events, the youth survey, and the various presentations about the parks or the pros plan at its various stages, touch points where it was presented to the county commissioners, where it came before the Parks Advisory Board a few times. We presented to the tribal coordination meeting a couple times, and it's been to a couple advisory council meetings as well. So I've got a few slides in here, and this would be a repeat of information from what the Parks Advisory Board has heard, because we did come back after each survey and present findings from these. So I'm not going to go through in as much detail as we did back then, but just to provide a snapshot of what is in the pros plan and the type of information that we heard that helped inform how the goals and objectives were crafted and what went into the capital projects. So the first survey was from 2023 and open for 5 weeks. This one was kind of the kickoff of the public engagement process. I definitely don't anticipate or expect you to be able to read the table there, but just to have a picture up there. Anyway, some interesting information, results from the first one. The most used parks based on the respondents that we received, North Kitsap, Port Gamble, Point No Point, Silverdale Waterfront, Newberry Hill were the top vote getters. Definitely a lot of voting and interest coming in from North Kitsap, and a lot of high use in North Kitsap, as you will see. 3 of the 5 parks there very well representing the North. Activities, what did folks like to do while they were in the parks? The top 2 most voted on elements were not, you can't really read what's below the boxes, but in the gold box in the top right reflects nature trails, open space, natural habitats, being out in green spaces, on trails, walking, hiking, those type of activities were the top uses of our parks. And not surprising, oh, sorry, I think I skipped over a slide. So this slide represents those items that were barriers to use. So an interesting way was not just asking people, how do you use your parks, but it's also what prevents you from using your parks. And so this helps us identify barriers that people have for access that we can also work towards breaking down. And you'll see the 3 bullet points in gold represent the by far the top vote getters here. Unsure of what parks are available. This basically speaks to people don't know what parks are out there. So we need to do a better job of marketing our parks. There were some security and safety issues that came up. And those kind of run the gamut, and they get more detailed out a little bit later. And then the big one, and this will also be a common theme you will see, need restrooms. A lot of people want to see restrooms in parks. They want the comfort facilities, especially when we have such large parks. People are spending a long time there, and we don't have a lot of built restrooms in all of our parks. So touching on those themes, the results from the first one led into these 4 themes. The access and safety ties into some of the things that we just took a look at there in terms of barriers and safety concerns. The trail development and connectivity. You can see the bullet points up here. A lot of comments about folks love to use trails. And you know, that is their number one way to utilize the parks and the park facilities. And recreation and facility programs was another theme that came out. This is some of the ways that we heard about it, for the need for pickleball courts, pump tracks, indoor. We heard a variety of stuff about indoor facilities, programming, and soccer fields, and other outdoor ball fields are also a very common theme as well. And the nature preservation and conservation theme, emphasis on that balance of preserving our critical natural resources with human activity. So moving on to survey number 2, those 4 themes were used to craft the information and the activities that we used or we implemented for the second survey. They're safety and access, trail development, recreation facilities, and the nature preservation. Few slides in here, you'll remember this is the survey that had the Maptionnaire application that went with it. And this allowed folks to not only tell us comments and give us their responses to the prompting questions we posed, but also to draw on a map where they would like to see those things happen. So I mean, don't pay too much attention to the map. This is like a conglomerate of all of the responses, but it is to show you that, you know, some people will get very specific. They want to see some sort of activity or some sort of land preserved in this specific spot. And others will circle the entire county and say, we want, you know, all of this to happen here, and just kind of be very general. Also in the kind of conservation theme, you'll see some of the comments that we received, again, with the highlights of locations. We've heard comments about doing a better job with invasive plant species management, support for stewardship groups, increased funding for native plant restoration, environmental education programs, creating equitable access to county parks, and then that balancing of habitat protection with human recreation. And the connectivity theme, a couple slides on that. This was indicating where would you like to see trails in your park system. And we heard a lot of that within our parks, as well as, and you'll see by some of these bullets, we also received comments that are fall outside of our park boundaries, but are still good information and important for the county to know. We had a question about where are we falling short on trailheads? Where would you like to see more developed trailheads or improved information in these in our park system? You'll see the heat map on the right based on the responses. And then, of course, those top vote getters, Hansville Greenway, Salisbury Point, Port Gamble, North Kitsap, Coulter Creek. Access and safety theme. People were prompted to provide comments about access and safety concerns and identify on the map where those specific concerns are. You will see stuff on here, items that also somewhat fall outside of our parameters as a Parks Department, such as speeding issues near Harper Park, sidewalks near Colacol, though that one's more in our wheelhouse, kind of, sort of. But information that we can also share across departmentally with other county departments, Public Works, non-motorized group, their roads division can help with some of these items, or at least we can help inform them of what we're hearing from the community. Also, access and safety improvements that we heard, safer bike routes, reduced vehicle speeds, removal of vegetation to improve sight lines, and for bicyclists and pedestrians, and suggestions to include no bike areas to improve pedestrian safety, specifically at Port Gamble Forest Heritage Park. New recreation facilities, what we heard, you will see up here, disc golf, pickleball courts, soccer fields is a big one, and off-leash dog park, and the specific areas where a lot of these comments came in from. New facilities, and these are amenities. So these are specific built items that people want to see in our parks. Restrooms, a lot of votes and comments about the need for restrooms across our park system, as well as picnic areas, shade structures, got a lot of interest, and benches and sitting areas. So opportunities for people, families, groups to gather and picnic and have passive use of parks, as well as those comfort facilities. This led us into survey number 3. And so a lot of this information was refined through the consultants and staff input and went into the third survey, which was trying to take some of this information and boil it down to specific projects and specific parks. And you'll recall this one was a relatively short survey. It was only 9 questions, but very specialized to projects, mostly. There were a couple questions that weren't project-based, but most of it was. So as we're going through this, the theme is in the top left. In the red box on the left-hand side shows that what this question and these answers were reflecting of. Some of them, especially the rec facilities, we had to divide that question into a separate question for North, South, and Central because there was just way too much information to combine into one. But this one is about, identify your top 10 trails, trailheads, parking lots, and access projects for across our park system. And this one was for the full park system. And top vote getter, a new parking lot at Newberry Hill Heritage Park, parking at Port Gamble, improving a trail connection in Hansville Greenway, parking at Banner Forest, doing some ADA trail improvements at Newberry, Port Gamble, and you can see the rest there. And there's definitely a lot more answers than just the 10. There were a laundry list of items for folks to choose from. All of that is captured in totality in the appendices of the pros plan. So this one, theme is on recreation facilities and amenities. This is North Kitsap only. There's a separate question for top 10 rec facilities for Central and another one for South. This one you will see there's again, improved restrooms, Buck Lake, picnic areas, North Kitsap, picnic area, Port Gamble, ADA, accessible inclusive playgrounds, location to be determined, but at least a strong desire to provide this type of facility for the community. And you can see some of the other type of responses that were received. Top 10 rec facilities, Central Kitsap. Restrooms. It's a common theme throughout. and gets a lot of our top voters, vote getters, and has helped inform the Parks Department where we need to put some resources to meet that community need and demand that we're hearing. South Kitsap, Banner Forest, add restrooms, Long Lake, a park renovation, South Kitsap, improve restrooms near the playground. So we have 2 different restrooms in the park. We identified them separately. Anderson Point, restrooms and benches. So again, a lot of those comfort facilities that we're hearing from the community. Safety items. So this is a top 10 list of safety improvements that we heard from the folks for the full park system. So not the North, South, Central division, but the everything all together. We have Silverdale Waterfront Park, repair damage to the undercut head wall, getting the most attention here. Silverdale wetlands, and this is another one too. We see a interest in improving safety measures to reduce crime. So a good question is, well, what does that mean? And that's a great question. And this is, premised on a lot of comments that we heard from the community. So most definitely important for us to capture and ask back to the community. But it will be different as to what this means based on the specific location and what is happening in these locations. And some of these we're aware of, and others, we'll have to do a little bit of investigation to determine what it is we're trying to solve and then apply accordingly. Rick, do you want to say something?
I see all the results.
Oh, I don't know if that's working. Yeah.
Just if I can see all the results.
They're all posted in the appendices, on the website. So, everything is out. Conservation and resiliency theme, looking at top 4 conservation and resiliency capital projects. Again, this is full park system. We had fewer projects listed in this one that rose up to kind of a project-based type thing. This is one of those where the next question is also top 4 conservation and landscape resiliency, but instead of projects, it is priorities. And that one more gets at creating policy and doing different types of practices in terms of our management of our parks. So both really important to capture, but they come out a little bit differently. But you will see kind of the different types of responses that we received from this one that's project-based. The next one are the system-wide priorities related to, in essence, basically how we manage or how the community is telling us they want us to manage our natural resource, our open spaces. And number 1 up here, acquire more land for natural resource protection and further conservation. Develop a vegetation management plan that would include an invasive species management, define project priorities, and implement. Important, well over 50% of voters chose that one. Protecting waterways, wetlands within park properties, develop wildlife conservation plans. Those are the type of things that aren't really project-based, but they're more kind of management and policy-based. So moving on to the next chapter, demand and needs analysis. We're now back to the bullet pointed items on the left. There are those subcategories that you will find within the context of this chapter. Walking through a couple items in here. One of the things we wanted to draw some attention to are levels of service metrics. So metrics aren't always a super great way that they can, tell all facets of our park system story. They can't, they don't, but they do provide some interesting thresholds that we can take a look at and make some comparisons as to how we function with regards to national averages, as well as in the next slide, we'll get to our own determined levels of service standards for Kitsap County, basically how we have determined to guide ourselves. So in this table, this is showing Kitsap County in comparison to national guidelines, national and state guidelines as determined through the NRPA, which is the National Recreation and Parks Association, that is kind of an overarching industry that or overarching organization that oversees the industry. What you will see here are the different types of classifications on the left-hand side there. And these would be the classifications that we are proposing that Kitsap County move towards. Again, these are the same classifications that the state uses as well as are used at the national level. And so that we have some common language. Within this, there's some interesting items. We have done the calculation for Kitsap County in that center column that is titled acres per thousand population, that is above the number 2024, which is our current year. And the comparison is in the far right column, and that are those national standards. And they don't have a standard for every single class, but this does, just gives us a piece of information, a data point that we can kind of make a comparison to where our county is in comparison to national averages. And you will see in a couple of neighborhood community parks, we are under those national guidelines. And in regional parks, though, we are more than double over. So it doesn't mean that any of this is wrong or we are doing the wrong thing. The NRPA used to put out industry standards that they wanted every single community to use and follow, and this kind of cookie cutter approach to park development and create park balance for all communities. They have since backed away from that because not all communities are equal. Not all communities want the exact same thing. And so this is used as a data point, a comparison, but they really promote that each community create their own standards, identify their own needs and demands, and then work towards achieving those. For Kitsap County, what we have up here are the current levels of service metrics that are called out in, obviously in our PROS plan. They were called out in the 18 PROS plan, the 12 PROS plan, and also they were in the 6 PROS plan, I think. Is that accurate, Carmen? Mm-hmm. Yeah, when they were first developed, there might have been a change from 6 to 12, but since 2012, they've not changed in terms of the calculation. And by the calculation, I mean the far right column. So the far right column are the Kitsap County adopted levels of service. As an example, in natural resource areas, the county, as I said, we're targeting 71 acres per thousand population as our county standard that we are working towards. And that gives us a base target by which to meet demand, use, and population growth for doing park acquisitions to meet what is defined as a natural resource area within the comprehensive plan. And You'll see in here the 2024 calculation. We are currently at 83.2 acres per thousand. So we are over that 71 acres threshold. But as population is projected for 20 years from now in 2044, without adding any additional acres to this current classification as we're currently set up, we would be under that threshold. And so this might give Kitsap County some information to say, hey, over the next 20 years, in order to maintain viability with our own levels of service standards that we have said we as a community are going to stick to, we are going to need to, target additional parkland acquisition that meets the definition of natural resource areas to help us achieve these standards. And so you see that called out for regional parks, community parks, trails, and shoreline access. These are the levels of service metrics that the county has adopted. One item of note also called out in the comprehensive plan, these metrics not only include county-owned parcels, but they also include land owned by other agencies. So this could be Great Peninsula Conservancy. It would include other park systems, City of Bremerton, City of Bainbridge Island, City of Poulsbo, state parks, DNR, WDFW, they all own open space parkland within Kitsap County and go into this calculation. Kitsap County is not, we are not solely responsible for achieving all of these metrics for all county residents all by ourselves. We are part of a bigger family of organizations that lead us there.
Before you leave this page, I was wondering if you can tell us a little bit how your assumptions of how, we now have these several new huge, what we've been calling heritage parks. How are those parks fitting in this classification? Are those classified as regional parks, as, how do you split those? I mean, I know some of them have shorelines and,
Yeah, good question. And in the, I don't have a slide for it, in the pros plan, we do identify how we have lined up the park classifications with these different descriptions up here. So because these park classifications that live in the comp plan don't match our current park classifications, and they don't match our proposed park classifications. So natural resource area is not a park classification that we currently have, and it's not one that we are proposing. So what we have had discussions with internally to the department is the need to update our levels of service standards that you see on the screen here to be adopted at some point in the future into the comprehensive plan so that we are more aligned and more in sync with what we currently have. And one of because the way that it is calculated is confusing and it's not very accurate. So as an example, our heritage parks, or even let's take South Kitsap Regional Park. In this calculation, it is considered a regional park, so it is wholly captured within those acres. But in reality, half of the park is developed, half of the park is open space with trails. And so, but that open space component fits the definition of natural resource area, but it's not captured there because it is only capturing the park in its totality as opposed to pulling it apart. And so what we would like to explore is doing something different with the levels of service standards in the future. And this is not now, this is at some point in the future. But maybe we're looking at something that's a little bit different, that is developed parks acres versus protected or open space park acres. And so that would then give us the ability to kind of split some of these parks into multiple levels of service categories. Because those parks that, so Port Gamble, for example, not only fits into here, and I think it's up here in natural resource area, but I can't remember for sure. But it also has shoreline access. So the shoreline access is captured there. So, but we could tease it apart even further to be more accurate with what we're hearing from the community, because doing this all or nothing approach, in our opinion, is not the most accurate way to go. But we're not there yet because of that requires a big conversation and a big change, and we're not in a position to move forward with that. We are just moving forward with the levels of service as are currently written in order to move the pros plan forward. And then we would investigate or work on an update to the LOS metrics at some point in a future year. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's hard for us. It was a challenge for Carmen and I to dig into this and really like tease it apart, and the old classification system made it even more challenging. And the other item that is included in this that needs further investigation is in the calculation of total acres, the component, we were able to update our park system acres to what they currently are today. They're all in a GIS map, and they're accurate. What's not accurate are those non-county acres. They are exactly the same as they were in 2012 when they were originally calculated. They have not been changed. We have not been able to find an inventory of what went into those original calculations so that we can add on to them, subtract for them, adjust them to make them accurate. So at some point, what we did was just carry it forward because that's all we could do right now. But eventually, we're going to need to basically start that process over and recalculate and create that inventory list so it doesn't get lost or confusing, and then we're able to track it and make adjustments every time that we do this on a 6-year basis. Sure.
You hit something. McCormick, all the new villages around the Public Woods, they've got probably an accumulation of probably 2 acres of new single track. I mean, multi-use trails. Were those were that acreage, total acreage factored into those?
I doubt it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, unless they were included in 2012, they are not included in this. Yeah.
So there's a pretty significant new quantity of multi-use trails.
Yeah. So this next one, we just put green check marks by the ones that based on the current LOS metrics with the proposed park classification shuffling or changes. This shows that the even in 20 years, or it shows that currently we meet all of the metrics as Kitsap County has defined it. But it shows that in 20 years, based on projected population growth, community parks and natural resource areas, again, as they're currently defined and calculated, we would not meet those metrics. One other item that needs some investigation in the LOS that we have not been able to track down, we have no idea where 71 acres per 1,000 population came from. We cannot find the backup information to determine how is 71 determined that was Kitsap County standard. So that's, I think, another component of this. Like, in order to make this accurate and true, we not only need to, take a look at redefining what the metrics are, but also looking at what the metric itself is, that number value. We don't know. And so in large part because of that, again, keeping it status quo is the best thing we can do until we can dive into it further and figure things out. I have no idea. I have no idea. Carmen did a lot of investigative work into the past pros plans, as well as the past comprehensive plans, as well as the past capital facilities plans that all reference these metrics. And we have not been able to determine what that inventory of non-county facilities are, or even where these numbers came from. Have anything else to?
No.
Okay. Yeah, so we don't, if anybody out there has any information, please come talk to the Parks Department.
Alex, there was an inventory, a countywide inventory that was put together by KRCC, Kitsap Regional Coordinating Council. It was referred to as the Green Book. And it was way back in the early 2000s, and all the different jurisdictions, counties, cities came together. And at that point in time, there was an inventory created, but I don't know that there's been one made since, and that was a long time ago.
No, but that's good, because ultimately we've been trying to backtrack to find the starting points to understand, what went into these initially, how were they initially defined, so that we can move our current system into those same definitions and then do the updates. So did you take note of that?
Yes.
Okay.
And
we'll
I think I have a paper copy.
You do?
I think I do.
Would love to see that at some point. Yeah. 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 And actually, Lisa, a better answer to your question is, like, at least as far as we know, yeah, they've been lost because we can't find them. Doesn't mean they don't exist, but we just haven't come across them yet.
I gave one summer about 10 years ago, I tracked all the photos in county, believe it or not. And I gave them the big map to your GIS guy.
Okay.
He says he still have, he said he still have it. He scanned it.
Yeah.
So that might be available, but I also have a hard copy.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, moving on. The next two chapters are really the result that we are getting from all of these input metrics from the pros plan process, the community engagement, the surveys, the open houses, the analysis of our existing parks, the demand analysis from, in part, what we're hearing from the community, as well as what we know from from our own tuition and we see in terms of use and so forth. So goals and objectives. I want to walk through each one. And these are built and developed based on what we heard. And there is a lot packed into each one. The way that they are structured is there is an overarching goal. It is broken down into multiple objectives that you see below there. And then each of those objectives generally has 2 to 6 different actions. There's action statements called out as to how we could go about implementing each of the objectives, which helps us lead towards accomplishing the goal there. Also on this sheet on the left-hand side, identifies kind of and this doesn't really live in the plan, but kind of the goal focus, and this will make more sense probably on a different slide, and then the Parks Department program. So what we did was take the way that the goals and objectives were written and try and conform them in ways that made sense and aligned with our department operations. So this one is very high level and looks at and really talks about items that are overarching to the entire park system. And we'll get into the others in a minute, but this one's promote a sustainable park system that fosters opportunities for both active and passive recreation, encourages healthy lifestyles, safeguards natural habitats, and preserves and enhances significant environmental and historical resources. Like I said, there's a lot packed in there. We aren't going to, accomplish this with an annual work plan. These are big ticket items that are intended to provide direction to the department for the development of policy, for the development of management practices. So the next one is develop and implement natural resource management plans to protect the biodiversity and cultural resources, establish buffer zones and wildlife corridors, adopt sustainable land management practices, and preserve cultural heritage sites through interpretive signage, education programs, and collaboration with local tribes and cultural experts. This one, couple objectives, multiple action items in there. And this one, because it is very focused on the natural environment, how we manage it, how we treat it, that focus area becomes natural resource management and our natural resources program. So again, trying to align what we are pulling out of or what we're developing in the outcomes from the PROS plan with the way that our department operates, so there are clear lines to be drawn as to how we implement. Goal 3, integrate sustainable design into park planning and development to minimize environmental impact, enhance resource efficiency by incorporating green infrastructure, adopting native landscaping, and implementing energy efficient practices. Very much so speaks to planning and capital development, speaks to how we do this, what is important, and how that comes out in terms of the built environment of those recreation facilities that we build for the community. Goal 4, enhance visitor amenities and services to improve accessibility and overall experience in county parks by upgrading trail signage, expanding parking and accessibility features, and implementing technology solutions for better engagement. This one, again, is very high level, overarching the entire park system and has bits and pieces in it that fall into different operating areas within the Parks Department. And so you will see across the bottom there, it falls into our planning and our capital as to how we plan our properties, how we design our capital projects, and then how we manage them as well in terms of our natural resources, events. I mean, it is cross-departmental as to how this one applies. Goal 5, you'll see this one focused on events and those type of facilities. Enhance events and athletic facilities by upgrading and maintaining infrastructure, implementing efficient management operations, and exploring revenue generating opportunities to attract regional events and support local recreation programs. Goal 6, ensure high standards in park maintenance and operations by establishing standardized management practices and effectively allocating resources to sustain park facilities in natural settings. It's great and fun to go talk to the community about what they want and then to go build it. But man, you better have the resources and the staffing on the back end to maintain it afterwards. It is so critically important. And, you know, this department knows that over the last 2 decades, where we have seen a huge expansion in terms of park acres, park properties, and what is lagged behind, people, staffing, budget does not help us out. So this is really focused on making sure that, you know, we are advocating for ourselves. We are putting pieces in the right place so that we are maintaining our parks and facilities to the best that we can. So six goals in the goals and objectives section. The other output from the PROS plan is the capital improvement plan. On the left, the different components that you will find within this chapter, and then through the plan. In an effort to help us take the different types of projects, capital projects, and organize them in a fashion that will help us make decisions, help ensure that we are balancing our park projects to be more equitable and equal across the community. we created capital categories, these project categories that represent the different projects. We have land acquisition, park access, which really speaks to parking lots, trailheads, those points where people have the in and out spot, the ingress egress for parks. Park amenities are those kind of one-off specific items that get built at a park, whether it's a picnic shelter or a playground or a singular ball field or whatever, it falls into the park amenities category. We have athletic facilities, very self-explanatory, soccer fields, baseball fields, pickleball courts, etc. Event facilities. This could be the building we're in today, the pavilion across the street, the fairgrounds, the President's Hall, our community buildings at Long Lake and Island Lake. So that's what that category is. We have trails, pretty self-explanatory. Natural resources are projects or projects that fit within this category that are focused on improving sustainability, improving habitat, and that could be the active removal of something that is inhibiting an estuary or a waterway, and we have those out in our park system too. Park development is really a category that is a conglomeration of multiple of items 1 through 7. So if we have a park project, let's take Horseshoe Lake, for example, down in South Kitsap. It is an aging park. It has facilities that are outdated in terms of an old restroom, an older playground, really basic picnic facilities. And say we wanted to go in and do a park development project there that went from wall to wall. We're going to update the bathroom, the picnic shelter. We're going to do community engagement to determine what else do you want to see here, whether that be ball fields or picnic shelters or whatever. That would kind of fall into the park development category because it includes multiples of those other items 1 through 7 above. And then the other category is just those items that don't quite fit in 1 through 8. And we do have those. A couple examples would be the current repair, beach and shoreline repair project at Point No Point. That capital project is in response to a natural disaster that we encumbered in the park. Another one would be, and you saw this on here earlier, is a repair to the head wall at Silverdale Waterfront Park. That would be kind of a safety item, but it's not really a park amenity. So it kind of fits into this other category. With this, we've gone through and taken not just those top 10 items that we shared previously from the CIP survey, but added in all of the responses that we received from the third survey, as well as other known projects that we have, that we are aware of, and put those into a table. This table 6-3 in the pros plan is about 6 pages long, and it has the different categories. It's all contained within the same table. In here, we have trails, trailheads, parking, and access. So it speaks to that park access component as well as trails and other things. What I've shared in this presentation are those items that were determined to rise up to those projects that we will target for the next 6 years. There's a whole laundry list of other things that fall into that second category that are 6+ years. There is just not enough space in a PowerPoint to share everything. And so we're really just showing kind of the top 1 to 6 years, but there's a bunch of stuff on there as well.
Alex, is that Port Gamble Forest Heritage Park parking already checked off? That's done, right?
It
'Cause
is.
It's already done.
So this is add parking and access. So yes, this is part of the current project that is moving. I mean, the north parking lot's not done yet, but the Stottlemyre is. So, yes. Yep. Yeah. So this is. So sorry, say that again.
South Kitsap Regional Park, not much you know, on the first two pages, that was, park. I just saw it was kind of omitted or something accidentally.
Well, so South Kit, there are projects identified for South Kitsap. This one is specific to trails and parking lots. Then we didn't, if South Kitsap's not up here, then basically what we're indicating is in the next 6 years, we would probably not pursue a parking lot project at South Kitsap. However, and this would be for everybody listening, or anybody in the room, as part of the comments and feedback, if there are specific capital improvement projects that folks want us to see edited in the after we do the public engagement process, please submit those comments because we will use those to inform making edits to the pros plan before it moves forward on the rest of its trajectory. Done.
I really encourage you to go online and look at that because like Alex said, there are pages and pages. And what he's shown here is just a small percentage. And I'm pretty sure South Kitsap Regional Park, there's a item on there specifically to one of the parking lots needing repair, and we've talked about that site, but so go online and look at it because there's tons and tons.
And tons. There's a lot of capital needs across the park system. Okay, so this next table are recreation facilities in District 1 in North Kitsap. These are the 1 to 6 year items. And again, not sharing everything else because there's just not enough space, but man, there's a lot of stuff on there. And you will see things Port Gamble Forest Heritage Park, new park area at North Parking Lot. So that is the one that is currently in process that if it gets achieved would get checked off of the box. Let's see, also on here, add an ADA accessible and inclusive playground, add a fishing pier at Norwegian Point Park, add pickleball courts, locations TBD because we don't have any currently, adding picnic shelter also at Norwegian Point, Island Lake, add a second picnic shelter. We currently have one there right now. And renovating fishing cabins at Norwegian Point Park. So just a smattering of items in the north end. Central Kitsap, Disc 3, also recreation facilities. We come back to some of the themes we heard earlier. Restrooms at Newberry, at Illahee, a park renovation project at Wildcat Lake. Some improvements to the Fairgrounds and Events Center, where we're currently sitting here with regards to expanded or larger lawn spaces for event use, and developing a new park area. This would kind of replace the existing park area we have here that is aging and falling apart. And then also continuation of themes with ADA access and inclusive playgrounds, pickleball courts, and improve athletic fields. So district number 2, South Kitsap, Banner Forest, add restrooms, park renovation at Long Lake, another one of our aging parks. South Kitsap Regional Park, improve, again, restrooms, this one near the playground. Veterans Memorial Park is another park renovation project. And it is a bunch of different types of park amenities. So it kind of falls into that park development plan. Wicks Lake is a park development because we have nothing there, but we have an obligation to RCO to do something, and the department is behind on that. Safety projects enhancements. So you will see we are continuing with the same themes. This is county-wide, some of those safety items. These do not all necessarily rise to a capital project. Some of these are smaller and could be handled more as maintenance improvement projects that we're able to do in-house. And some of them are other things, like you will see the one up there repeatedly that says improve safety measures to reduce crime. Again, what that means is going to be different for each one of those locations. It could be, developing a partnership with the sheriff's office to improve their presence in those places. It could be adding safety lights. It could be adding cameras in some places, which is already happening in some of our parks. So there's a variety of things up here for park improvement and safety. More safety improvements. So many up here that we had 2 different slides representing this. The conservation and landscape resiliency projects, and a list of a variety of things up here. Port Gamble, we've got construct bridges over the creek on Springs Trail so that we are getting foot traffic out of the water, out of the, creating degradation on the waterfront or the stream bed there. Similarly, Guillemont Cove, we currently have a boardwalk that tries to span a fish-bearing estuary, but it doesn't quite reach it. So you kind of have to walk through the estuary in order to get to the bridge and then walk through the estuary on the other end. It's just not a good way to manage our natural resources. And so looking at removing that, relocating the trail, it kind of starts to dovetail into a bigger project, but still gets us to target improving fish habitat and protecting and preserving our natural resources. And then the last slide, last chapter here is the plan adoption. And in this, it has a number of touch points. We are currently in the 5-week public comment period. You see in the top left there. It will also have public touch points for comments during its SEPA review process, when it goes to the Planning Commission, and again, when it goes to the Board of County Commissioners. This will take place over this document, which you have seen for a few months now. And some of the dates have been tweaked as things have gone on. Our current public meeting dates have changed a number of times. Some of that's based on direction from the commissioners. Some of it's based on, well, it's all been based on, for those specific, based on direction from the commissioners. Nonetheless, this is basically a representation of all the different items that we will be working through the end of July as we move the plan through its public comment period, making edits and adjustments, having it reviewed so for its compliance with the comp plan, which was just approved in 24. It goes to the Planning Commission for review, to the commissioners for a public hearing, and then ultimately to the State of Washington Recreation and Conservation Office for their review and hopeful approval as well by the end of July. And that, Parks Advisory Board, has been the public presentation that we did in North Kitsap last Tuesday. It'll be the same one that we share with the public tomorrow in South Kitsap, and we will do a very condensed version of this at the Central Kitsap Community Council meeting on March 5th. So a question you may all have is, what am I supposed to do with this? Because it's not really asking you a question at this point. This is intended to provide information out to the community, to spark interest in going to see the plan, review it, and provide comment back to the department that will then help us inform edits. So my goal here is to kind of say, here's where we're at, here's what we're sharing, and eventually we will want to come back to the Parks Advisory Board for a discussion amongst you, and to eventually make a recommendation to the commissioners based on the plan. And we can do that in a number of ways. So we've earmarked 2 more meetings to talk about the pros plan next month in March, as well as in April. And if you have, over the last week and a half since we launched this out to the public and shared it with you, have specific items that you would like the department to take in and bring back to the Parks Advisory Board in March for further discussion or detail, we can take those now. We can also, allow through March and then have a discussion in March to identify those specific things that the board together wants to take a look at or make recommendations. And we could come back in April then to discuss what the edits look like and where the advisory board is at that point.
Thank you, Alex. That was interesting. I was actually following along in the pros plan while you're making the presentation. You actually stayed on mission quite well. Okay, Alex, I do have an ask of you. Okay, don't panic. Don't panic. That's an easy one. Message the entire advisory board that the review and get their thoughts in to the office as soon as possible, so that can be amalgamated, so that we can work on addressing that. Park, board members, let's don't pick it to pieces. If you see stuff that's missing, you see stuff that you think needs to move into it, but let's don't pick it to pieces. But I would like to see us ready to actually have, of course, pending public comment and everything else, I would like to see us to be able to finalize our approval next month to keep this thing on track. I mean, we're already behind the 8 ball on this thing. So please get your information, that any concerns you have, to Alex and staff as soon as possible so that we can expedite moving this forward.
I'm kind of curious, with the comments that we do make or have, what is it going to change the plan at all? I mean, really, I don't think that anything we say would change anything. Would it?
I think it depends on what you say. I mean, we're not going to completely reverse course at this, juncture. But if there are, comments and feedback that we're receiving from the community that, are, viable, then yes, they will influence the direction of the pros plan. One other thing I wanted to mention to the advisory board members is, you can comment as individuals, aside from, the overall board making a recommendation as a collective at a future meeting. So, but.
Yes, Dawn.
Thank you, Larry. This is where I think the subcommittees could come in that for me, reading this entire document has been daunting. I've gone through it as a cursory and I've read a few certain areas, but there is no way that I, as a single individual, can get through everything. And if we, as subcommittees, dealt with subsections, and I feel like also the conversation between a couple people at least can calm down, excitement over one area or help bring clarity that I wouldn't necessarily get reading it by myself. And I think we could come back to the board with a much better, I could say, wow, I've really read the, volunteer area or whatever. And I felt it was missing this, but this was really good. And I feel like then I would trust other people within the board to have said, yeah, we read this part and we're confident with it. We've read this part. We as a board could give a whole recommendation, but right now I don't know what Lisa's going to read and I don't know what you're going to read. I know you're not going to read the whole thing. Yeah, with all the appendices and everything. That would just be my ask, is if anybody else is interested at looking at subsections based on the subcommittees. But again, I think Larry has it right. We're not necessarily nitpicking, but I think we could give a better, more confident, recommendation.
Dawn, you should never come up with an idea in front of me when I have a live mic. Here's what I would ask of you. Work with staff and get 3 more volunteers. And Carmen, what's a good time frame for you?
For receiving the comments back?
Yeah, well, for getting with a subcommittee to
I don't want her to have to get with a subcommittee.
okay, well, never
Because
mind.
I don't want to add to their burden. That's why I'm saying
Okay,
early on, you told me that subcommittees could get together and do stuff as long as we're small. And so that's what I'm just saying, that if planning, however we want to do it, but I'm just asking that if other people are interested in getting together as a subgroup, 4 or less people talking about it. It's 3 or 4.
no, I'm
Oh, we're
can you get
short.
something put together in 3 weeks to get a group together so y'all can look at it? And then so you'll be ready to make a report out to the March meeting?
I think if you're a subcommittee that's interested in doing it, they should have a goal of having read or reviewed parts of it within the next week or week and a half, and having a meeting at that point so that they could talk
Okay,
and put together something. It's not something that could be drug out. We need to have something within a month.
okay, well, okay, would you mind putting that together for us?
I mean, I'm ready to contact anybody and say, I'm in capital projects and planning and property. I mean, that would be, is it 3 people or 4 people? Because
4.
we're down 1, though. We're down 1.
But what I was going to say is, for the pros plan is big. And so what we have done was not utilize the subcommittee setup and instead bring it back to the full board every single time. So you don't have to follow the subcommittee structure. If you want, kind of what you were alluding to, if you want to pull 3 advisory board members together to talk through a specific section or something, by all means, feel free to do that. We don't have to be bound to the subcommittees.
It seems like it would make sense if you're gonna do that, that it be grouped by the north, south and central.
Well, I'm not going to micromanage this any more than I already have because I hate micromanagers genetically. So I'm going to leave the ball in your court.
I was just going to ask, again, so I don't have to add work to parks. Do we as Park Advisory Board members, do we all have each other's contact?
No, that's a negatory. And I would actually like to still see
Okay.
the initial communication go through parks.
Okay.
And
For a
this is
record.
just to protect us.
Yes.
So, okay.
But I would still like to get contact information for each person in case I would like to contact somebody, because I don't have that.
Well, and that's up to each member of the advisory board. You got mine. I think you do. I'll give it to you.
So like we should have a list.
I'll find out what we can share, and if we can share the list to the board members, then I'm happy to do that.
Yeah. I'm published all over the internet.
I'm willing to get together with some people if they want to email Alex and tell them. But again, only 3 of us.
Thank you, Dee. I appreciate that. Let me get back to the top, get back to my agenda here. Okay. We are running long here. So how short is your director's report, or how short can your director's report be, Alex?
It's written, you have it. If you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, consider it done.
Appreciate that. Okay, and we don't have no subcommittee reports because we haven't had any subcommittee meetings. Okay.
Alex, though, before did you have an update on any of the staffing? I know we had lost several staff members and I don't know. I didn't see that, but maybe I just missed it. On the staffing, I know we lost some of our natural resource staff. I don't know if those are positions that are being advertised and how that's playing out.
No, not yet. We have 5 vacancies currently, and we are withholding advertising them for the moment.
Okay.
More to come on that.
Do we have any district representative reports?
Is that old business, new business?
It's just district rep. Do you have anything to report from the north end?
One thing, today I was up at Port Campbell Forest Heritage Park towards dusk, right before this meeting. And there were 5 motorcyclists, zipping down the trail. So I blocked their route and talked to all of them and said, consider yourself busted. You're not allowed in the park, and they were going, well, we're just trying to get to the sand pit. I said, well, you still can't be in the park, but go to the sand pit and stay there. So after they got there, I went to take pictures and they saw me taking pictures of them. And so they came and totally harassed me, circled my truck, started popping wheelies and being all male and aggressive. So I took their pictures. So just so we know who they are, because they're obviously using the park for transportation to get to and from the sand pit or the pit.
Yeah, thank you for keeping an eye out in the park. What I would recommend next time is to call the police, call the sheriff, and report it that way, rather than engage to try and do any type of enforcement or just for the sake of safety.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I definitely please report it. The motorized activity in Port Gamble is ongoing and is a challenge to catch and to deal with. So
That's what I said at dusk, because they have to go home and they can't ride down the roads with those bikes because they're like.
Yeah, especially if you know that they were gathered and hanging out at the sand pit, it, could be a good point for engagement with a sheriff.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, thanks.
All right, moving along, we do have a section here for public comment. Remember, we're trying to keep it to a 3-minute time limit. D?
They're gone?
No one in queue?
All right, we do have a public comment, and Carol Price, I'm allowing you to talk.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay,
Yes, we can.
I'm exhausted. It's been a long day and I will withhold most of my questions, but my one comment is on your schedule, you have for the 17th through the 28th, SCJ update the pros plan based on PAB and public comments. Does that mean that public comments are going to be closed by the 16th, right? And that seems really soon to me. I really think that this plan needs public engagement and it needs time for the public to read it. I'm on page 20. It really takes a long time to read this plan. So my request is put off that deadline, and then I'll save the rest of my comments for later.
Thank you very much, Carol. Dee, do we have anybody else?
Yes, we do. And now allowing Judy Willett to talk. Judy, you are muted. You can unmute yourself. Judy, you are able to unmute and speak at this time.
There you go. Technology, sorry. It's not me, it's my husband, Don. He's here.
Yeah, it's my fault.
Say your name.
We didn't recognize, I'm Don Willott. We didn't recognize the place on the screen that to unmute. Just to share that we so much appreciate the quality of the presentation that Alex put together. And although we were at the meeting in Kingston, of course, you have a chance to go through and you think about different things, and found it very useful. Probably the one thing that is on my mind in terms of how we focus is there's an ambiguity in how people speak of access and accessibility. The difference between can you get there by some mode, and if you happen to be using a wheelchair or have other special needs, can you get around and have the whole experience? So when I have a chance to look more closely, I would be looking for to be sure that we're making a clear statement about the importance of people with movement and other limitations being able to have the true park experience. Anyway, so that's the only comment I wanted to make at this point, and I appreciate the chance to comment.
Thank you very much. Do we have anybody else? No one else in line? All righty. So there is only one other item on the agenda. And that would be a motion to adjourn. I would engage, or I would appreciate a motion to adjourn. Yes.
I move we adjourn.
Have a motion. Do we have a
I
second?
second it.
We have a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you very much for your patience, people.